Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Eric May, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from Psycheceutical Bioscience, Inc. Before we introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. If you are interested in scheduling a meeting with Psycheceutical Bioscience, please click on the Meetings tab found in the left navigation bar. You'll be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Chad Harmon, Chief Executive Officer of Psycheceutical Bioscience, which trades on OTC Markets. Welcome, Chad.
Thank you, Eric. And I know it can be a tongue twister, psychoceutical, so I've done it several times myself. It's a pleasure to be here today with everyone. I'm excited to present to those who have not heard Psycheceutical Bioscience story, and to our existing shareholders who I know will be watching to get this latest update. In today's presentation, I will cover the background of the company, the tremendous market opportunity, our highly distinct and differentiated technologies, drug development type pipeline, and then I'll take some questions. Of course, we are a publicly listed company, as Eric mentioned, so please be aware of any forward-looking statements. But really, before we get started, I'd like to call out the fact that truly our mission and vision here at Psycheceutical really revolves around us as individuals knowing someone who's struggling with their mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, PTSD, or addiction. This is a major global problem we're facing that has been further exacerbated since the pandemic. These serious issues need a different approach to treatment because what we've been doing just isn't working, as recent studies have shown. This is why Psycheceutical Bioscience believes strongly that psychedelic medicines have powerful potential for life-saving mental health treatment. But for wide adoption, psychedelic medicines need to be delivered in the same way that pharmaceuticals are, with targeted control. Psycheceutical Bioscience is a biopharmaceutical company bringing this much-needed focus on precision dosing technology to the mental health industry. Our vision is to use our patented delivery technologies to provide safe and effective bioavailable psychedelic pharmaceutical medicines. Another tongue twister for you guys out there. The therapeutic use of psychedelics for depression, PTSD, anxiety, and more is a growing industry with billions of dollars being poured into psychedelic R&D. We believe that psychedelic medicines will become the next major breakthrough in mental health treatment, representing an approximate 400 billion global market size that is expected to reach $540 billion by 2030. And what we'll do is we'll cut over to, what I'd like to do is show a couple of different animations of our different technologies. One, the NeuroDirect, and the first one we'll play is the Janus particle technology. So you can get an actual live demonstration of these particles working.
Psycheceutical's breakthrough systemic delivery technology is designed to use Janus particles to deliver targeted doses of psychedelic compounds across the blood-brain barrier, increasing drug efficacy and reducing toxicity and side effects. Janus particles are extremely small nanoparticles with multiple actives in one compound. Our patented manufacturing process can make particles as small as 25 nanometers, or about 4,000 times thinner than a human hair. We can also create particles in virtually any shape, as some shapes have shown better absorption by certain types of cells. Our particles can also be layered with multiple actives, allowing for microdosing of a single compound, or the delivery of multiple synergistic psychedelics together, or in time release. Because of their small size and targeting capabilities, our Janus particles can be tailored to bypass the blood-brain barrier and deliver drugs directly to specific receptors in the brain. Psycheceutical's patented NeuroDirect technology is being developed to deliver psychedelic medications directly to the brain, potentially avoiding drug distribution throughout the body and exposures to toxicities and side effects. The intended process uses a topical compound applied to the skin at the back of the neck at the hairline. Neuroeffective agents pass into the epidermis layer of the skin and bind to receptors on free nerve endings. Neurochemical reactions occur, producing nerve impulses that travel along peripheral nerves to the spinal cord into the brain, providing therapeutic effects while bypassing the blood-brain barrier. Our vision is that neurodirect delivery technology will allow for lower dosing of psychedelic compounds, improved efficacy, and immediate action within minutes.
Until now, there have been significant medical and technological limitations keeping psychedelics from being safe, effective, and widely accessible. For example, most psychedelic compounds don't easily reach the targeted receptors in the brain. High doses are usually required to achieve the desired effect, but often lead to unpleasant reactions like hallucinations, nausea, and vomiting. Psychedelics that go through the digestive tract can take hours to take effect. To solve these problems, Psycheceutical has two next-generation patented delivery technologies developed for the pharmaceutical industry that we've licensed for psychedelic compounds, and we believe will help the entire psychedelics industry move forward. Psycheceutical's long-awaited precision dosing technology is intended to deliver psychedelic compounds directly to targeted receptor sites in the brain while bypassing the stomach and liver, thereby eliminating hallucinogenic effects and vastly reducing exposure to drug toxicities and side effects. Here's a list of various compounds we're targeting to combine with one or both of our delivery technologies and the potential delivery methods available to us. We've assembled a really incredible, outstanding, talented team, very diverse. Medical doctors, scientists, biotechnologists, regulatory, marketing, branding, and business development experts with over 100 combined years of FDA drug development experience. And what I think is very important with the team that we have and what we're seeing from feedback from medical doctors and overall is a lot of the mental health issues and challenges that we have are really comorbidities. And what I mean by that is that, for instance, one of our doctors and advisors, Dr. Thomas Cabell, who is a cardiologist, many of the chief complaints that he is treating individuals for often have a comorbidity of some type of mental health illness or disease, and thus creating a lot of cardiotoxicity effects. So you can even look at numerous cancer studies that show mental health really plays an integral role in that area. So this is where mental health, again, I really want to point out the fact that this is a bigger problem than we look at just from the mental health standpoint. It creates a lot of issues, and we have a tremendous team of great experts that very talented that is really helping to guide us and develop these very safely and effectively. I'm incredibly proud of our medical team led by Dr. Julian Bales, who's a world-renowned leader in the field of neurosurgery. The moving concussion with Will Smith is about his discovery of CTE brain injury in athletes. We won't mention Alec Baldwin, but he played him. A little controversial to say the least. His leadership and expertise have been invaluable, particularly for our strategy to deliver drugs to specific receptor sites in the brain. Overall, the medical team has been instrumental in developing rigorous protocols and implementing measures to ensure our psychedelic medicines are administered safely and effectively to provide patients with the best medical outcome. Our science team, which includes the inventors of our two patents, guides our clinical trial process and will continue to add new intellectual property to our portfolio to further our shareholder value. The work of our Chief Science Officer, Dr. Anish Tuteja at the University of Michigan, has led to over 20 patents and patent disclosures. We're extremely honored to have an original shark from Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington, as an investor and an advisor as we scale this business. Kevin is very, very passionate about mental health, illness. He's not immune to having family and friends afflicted by this disease. So he's very passionate about what we're doing and about the great hope and promise that we at Psychoceutical hold with delivering real solutions. Along with the psychedelic industry pioneer, Zappy Zappelin is our chief visionary officer. And also we have Kaya Roman, who brings 20 years of marketing experience from the tech world in Silicon Valley. Our company's technology is so exciting that we've already been featured in Forbes a couple times, Benzinga, Business Insider, and top biotech journals. Our industry experts are some of the most sought after speakers at industry conferences and events. And I encourage, if you guys are going to the Wonderland Miami event in November, myself will be there, and we have the fortunate opportunity to headline a Friday event with Kevin and Zappy. So look out for that event. Looking forward to meeting you there if possible. Psychoceutical will leverage our novel technology in two highly profitable sectors: drug development and IP licensing. We intend to develop and then commercialize our own unique drugs and related intellectual property. We also believe that we can further develop IP surrounding drug delivery technologies and formulations in the psychedelic space. Our patents are extremely unique and defendable against infringement, which is expected to protect the company from any direct competition. In fact, Psychoceutical finds itself in a mode of co-opetition, as we've coined here at Psychoceutical, since we have had many conversations with existing companies who are developing pharmaceutical approaches and want to utilize our nanotechnology in novel delivery systems to better deliver their products. We believe that licensing our drug delivery technology to pharmaceutical and psychedelic drug development companies will result in significant consideration, including milestones and royalty payments. Again, it gives us a multi-strategic play on increasing the revenue and shareholder value for shareholders. This is where I'm truly excited about our first drug in the development pipeline, which is our NeuroDirect topical ketamine for the treatment of PTSD. The reason we've selected ketamine is it's the only psychedelic compound that is currently legal. And as we all know on the call today, ketamine holds a lot of great promise in terms of overall mental health promise. The market size for PTSD is over $16 billion per year, and there are no known therapeutic solutions currently in the market today. What's really exciting for us at Psychoceutical is our regulatory advisors have indicated that based on phase 2 success, we should receive fast track status, which would dramatically reduce our overall time to market, as well as create significant shareholder value. Dr. Ronald Ogden, the inventor of the NeuroDirect technology, has been treating his PTSD patients with topical ketamine administered using our patented delivery system today. The therapeutic benefits experienced by his patients have been truly remarkable. 80% have seen significant improvements where they didn't respond to other drugs or therapies in the past. Our clinical trial plan anticipates conducting our phase 1 and phase 2 trials as soon as early next year, which is huge milestone. And given the fact that, we're really founded in 2020 and really this year put together the plan moving forward. So it's pretty remarkable what we've been able to accomplish as a team in such a short period of time. I'm very proud of that. The next compound in our development pipeline will be focused on the treatment of substance abuse disorders. The current treatment model of substance abuse costs is $20 billion plus annually. And this is where I find this just unfathomable, that 90% of patients relapse. That's just, it's unspeakable, unthinkable to think that we're in a society today where we don't have any solutions for substance abuse disorders, as well as many other addiction disorders to that end. And it really goes back to a broken system today and something that we're very passionate about. And I'm sure that, again, many individuals on the call can relate to, those with alcohol disorders, drug addiction disorders. Many of us have been afflicted, and if we think about the fentanyl and all the kids overdosing today, this is a huge problem that we need solutions to now. We've already spoken to the National Institute of Drug Abuse about it, as well as the FDA, about fast tracking our substance abuse product to combat the current addiction crisis. They're clamoring for a solution and would welcome one from our company with our technologies. Another exciting recent announcement that we recently released is we've entered into an exclusive option to acquire a majority equity stake in Vici Health Sciences, a state-of-the-art formulation and testing lab in Maryland that has a license from the DEA, which means they can legally work with psychedelic compounds. Now, many of you probably don't know, but many of the challenges we face as a new industry, these are DEA Schedule I drugs, so they're very difficult to work with. There's not too many companies that have a DEA license and designation. There are also many companies that will not work with psychedelics. So it's a very limited scope of laboratories and research facilities that we truly can work with. And so when we found Vici and that great group there, they dove headfirst in. They believed in the mission and the vision and what we were doing to combat this crisis in the mental state that we're currently in today. And so they bought into us. We bought into their team. They've done an extremely phenomenal job creating our first product, the neurodirect ketamine, and look forward to creating a multitude of high-value drug targets with their capabilities there at Vici Health Sciences. And again, the combination of our own world-class clinical research team and the pharmaceutical R&D team at Vici will certainly allow our drug development pipeline to move quickly and without interruption, because the other critical component that I want to relay to all you individuals here on the call today is, again, there's a lot of these compounds are not readily available. They're very expensive. And so what we can do with Vici as well is we can synthesize and create those compounds internally in-house. Again, because the last thing we want to do is put ourselves in a position where waiting 1 or 2 years to look at our next drug target. This way we can get rapidly through that drug development pipeline with their capabilities. Valuations in the bioscience space are linked to milestones achieved. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, we've already achieved some very important milestones. When we file our clinical trial application with the FDA, and when we begin our first human trials, these will serve as important inflection points for shareholders. I would encourage you to own Psycheceutical stock because our technology benefits the entire industry, which puts us in a very unique position. The psychedelic medicine industry is projected to be worth more than $1 trillion in the coming years. Delivery systems like ours will play a critical and vital role in that happening. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you today. I'll now turn it over to the question and answer portion.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Labs. I'm actually the CFO of the company, so I'm here with Chad. Our first question is, has FINRA been in communication with you at all about the approval of the stock symbol change? And Chad, I'll take this one and try to answer it. We are in communication with FINRA. We have filed 2 corporate actions, one for the name change and one for the symbol change, but there has been no decision at this point. The next question is, at what stage do you plan on increasing your marketing efforts? If I recall correctly, Kevin Harrington had mentioned after coming on board of possibly leveraging the network of influencers to get some grassroots momentum.
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, I can answer that, Michael. And what I would say to that is what we've been doing behind the scenes is really building a critical stockpile of IP. And so we've been looking at various compounds in the market, and behind the scenes, we are positioning ourselves with a whole slew of various IP. So as part of that, we've really been reluctant to share any new information as part of our drug delivery pipeline until we have that IP filed. Because the last thing we want to do is tip the hat to our competitors on what we're doing internally. And I can imagine you as potential shareholders or shareholders would not want that to happen. So we fully expect here in the next this fourth quarter to really ramp up those efforts, especially with Kevin Harrington, and to have a lot more PR announcements, great PR announcements to come soon. Thanks for the question.
Okay, let me read the next one. Are you partnering with any academic institutions? So we can, Chad, you should probably best answer that.
Yeah, so we are in negotiations and active conversations with several academic institutions, both here in the United States and abroad. We're looking at actually 4 different countries on various partnerships with high value drug IP and compounds themselves. So we certainly have taken the approach that we want to be on a global stage and to find very unique IP and the ability to utilize institutions to our advantage. In case in point would be where certain compounds are not, they're Schedule 1 here, which means you have to do a lot of preclinical laboratory studies. Some countries, they're not Schedule 1, and you can do in-human clinical trial work. So we have the advantage of going global and doing some of our clinical trial work on an international stage right into human studies. So those are all the value add in taking a global approach, and looking at some of these institutions that are world renowned for specific areas. Great question.
The next question kind of segues right into the discussion is, can you provide some additional color around your IP portfolio? So existing and future.
Yeah. So we are looking at, as mentioned before, we are looking at bringing on additional IP that is shown some great promise in early stage results. So we're in the middle of that right now. It's more than one, is what I will say at this point. And what we are doing with existing technologies is we are looking at we're looking at all the various compounds to target various additional IP and formulations with the existing technology. So we certainly are building out that entire portfolio to, again, what we want. We know we can't do everything, and this is what I want to emphasize. We have all these great compounds. We have a lot of competitors in space. We feel that we can be a great partner to many of our large companies with our delivery technologies. And so what we're doing is setting the stage, filing that IP, and then going back to many of these competitors to do some co-development versus licensing. Co-development is where we're actually engaged, and it's a higher value target and equity position in that overall drug. So that kind of encapsulates the IP portfolio question. Another great one.
Okay. The next question is, does NeuroDirect require FDA approval?
Yeah, so we are going through that process now with the technology. And so, and this may or may not be related to the question, but with Dr. Ogden, that technology that he patented, the way he's using it today is in an observational study. Essentially, he's using an off-label script, and the individuals that he's seen, those patients, he gives the script to the compounding pharmacy, they fill it, and then he applies it in his office. So that's the way he's using this technology today. But we are the first company to license that technology, and we will be proving that technology with the NeuroDirect ketamine. So that will give us certainly the result sets to prove out the technology, and also give us further evidence as to the mechanism of action of how it truly works in our body today.
Okay, the next question is are you partnering with or acquiring Vici?
Yeah, we have an option agreement to acquire Vici, and so we have. And Michael, do you want to kind of talk through the details around that?
Sure. Sure. What their option agreement is to allow us to acquire a majority interest in Vici, and that is a combination of both cash and stock. So that option agreement is for a reasonable period of time, and we believe that that's a very strategic acquisition for us based on the items that Chad talked about earlier. The
Thank you,
next
Michael.
question is, can you speak to the legality of these substances?
Sure. Yeah. So what we do have, and I'll go back to, and I can bring up that slide here. But yeah, there's what's considered Schedule 1, 1 through 3, with known psychedelic compounds. Schedule 1 is where the DEA has inferred that there's no therapeutic or medicinal effects as a result of these. And this is the slide here. So if we look at the drugs listed here, which are the most popular psychedelic drugs, ketamine is a Schedule 3 drug, meaning that it has to be administered in a clinical and in a clinic and or hospital setting. Psilocybin, MDMA, DMT, ibogaine, and the others, those are Schedule 1. So again, there are other companies in the space that are taking those compounds. They've already seen great safety and efficacy profiles with phase 2, and now we're seeing the same results in phase 3. And so, based on those clinical results, we expect, in particular, psilocybin and MDMA to be one of the first movers to be approved from a market distribution perspective here in the next 2 years. So essentially, they'll reschedule MDMA and psilocybin very soon.
Okay, and right now, this is the last question we have. And I know we're almost running out of time, but key milestones for the next 12 months. And I think those would be related to our development cycle.
Yeah, it certainly is. And so, what I would say, certainly the key milestones and certainly those value inflection points that we discussed earlier. One is obviously filing an IND is a huge value inflection point for shareholders, which we expect to have by first quarter of next year. We are going through with phase 1 and phase 2 trials with the neurodirect ketamine by certainly late Q1, early Q2. So those are huge milestones for a really early young company such as ours. We are working on a product formulation and IP for the substance abuse product. So again, we've done a lot of research and what's considered freedom to operate. So we understand what we can and cannot to IP and what our opportunities are there. So we feel comfortable with the path forward with that particular compound and expect to have a really good regulatory pathway and formulation here by the end of the year. We also have been evaluating a couple of other compounds that show great promise from a neurodegeneration perspective, meaning even outside of mental health, we're looking at Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, CTE, and traumatic brain injuries as well. So we're looking at a couple high value targets as well.
Well, let me just get the last question. When are you going to get uplisted to NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange? And I think that's, we are certainly targeting a larger or one of those exchanges, but we can't give you any defined time as to when that will happen. We're, as an organization, trying to put all the pieces in place to be able to do that as quick as possible. So that's all we have time for. Chad, you can do the wrap up.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for their participation today and those that will be seeing it later on. I highly encourage you to reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn. We are on all the social media channels. I'd love to interact and engage with those that are interested in our company. And again, thank you very much for this opportunity to present. And everybody have a wonderful day.